Alright, so now we're going to get into the detail on how to style our layers. So for that, we're going to go directly to our map tab to start a map from scratch. This exercise, we're going to be doing it in the new map viewer. So for that, if you open in the map viewer classic, that is this one, this white backgrounded like interface, you just have to click on the top right corner in opening map viewer to switch to the new map viewer. And it's a similar process to get from the new map viewer to the map viewer classic just by clicking on this button, also in the top right corner. Right, so now what we're going to do is that we are going to add our layer. First of all, we're going to add a CSV, means a data that is already stored in my computer. So for that, I'm just going to get here to the layers tab and click here on this drop down. Next, I'm going to click here on add layer from file. So for that, I'm going to browse in my device as I have it downloaded here. But first of all, I would like to show you how does the spreadsheet or the CSV that I'm going to upload looks like. So this is my spreadsheet, in which in the first column I have the country list of all the African countries for which we are going to be analyzing the malaria situation. Next column is the number of cases per country. And the last two columns are the latitude and longitude coordinates that we are going to be using to locate our dataset. So in order to save it into the correct CSV format, you just have to follow these steps. Go to File, Save As, and here you're going to look for the location of this spreadsheet. You select a name, and finally you should select the correct data format. So currently it's in the correct one, CSV UTF-8, limited. But bear in mind that there are other CSV formats, like this one that is just CSV, or as well this one that is for Mac specifically. The one that you should select is CSV UTF-8. That's the way that you are sure it's going to be working for ArcGIS Online. So once you are sure regarding the location, the name and the format, you just click on Save and it's ready to be added into ArcGIS Online. Alright, so now that we understand our data, I'm not going to save any changes. I'm just going to upload it. So open here, charge it into ArcGIS Online. You are going to select the first option, create it as a hosted feature layer, as you would like to share it, you would like to analyze it, and you would like to display it on your map. So this is the correct answer. You just click on Next. Now it's making a quick analysis to understand each one of the fields that we already checked. So just for double checking, we have the country, which is a string character, that's correct. Then we got the malaria cases, integers, and latitude and longitude, they are doubles, numeric values with decimals, right? Continuous data. So we're going to continue in next. And now it's asking me, all right, for the location settings, specify the type of location information the file contains. So I know I have latitude and longitude values, but I have other options such as addresses or places, MGRS coordinates, etc, etc. We're going to leave this one, latitude and longitude. And now it's asking me, okay, for latitude, which field you would like to choose. I have a field that is called latitude, so I'm going to select that one. And very similar with longitude. So just click on Next. You want to save it. I created previously a folder that is called malaria. And I'm going to save here my layer. As well, I can select some categories, tags, and summary, which are optional. I'm going to leave them blank so we can save time and get into the detail of the important matter of this video. However, I recommend that you fill in this category so it's easier for you to understand what is the data and also to find it easier in your content. It might take a while depending on your internet and Wi-Fi connections, but if it takes like more than 2 to 3 minutes, like try to refresh it. It may be created in your content and then you can add it to your map. However, in mine it's already added. I can see the different points that represent the cases of malaria around Africa. So for example, if I want to take a closer look into the Niger situation, I just click into that point and take a look. I have the 4 fields, right? First one, the country name. then latitude and longitude, double, that it's number with decimals, and then malaria cases, 324 cases. So this is useful, but it's not showing me the full information, at least just in the map, right? I have to click on the point to understand how many cases are per point or per country. So at this stage, what I want to do is to enhance my symbology, but making a different symbol depending on the number of malaria cases that you have. So basically, how we're going to do it is that we're going to have big points or big circles for the countries that have more cases, such as Niger in this case, and we're going to have smaller circles or smaller points for the countries that have less cases, such as Libya, right, that has 0 cases. So how to do that? You just have to click on the layer that you want to enhance the symbology, and you are going to see the properties pane appearing to the right part of the screen. Now what you should do is scroll down a little bit and click in Edit Layer Style. Now when you choose that option, you are going to be able to select or add a field so you can enhance the symbology. You already know that the field that we are going to select is the malaria cases. So we click here and we select malaria cases, and take a look how automatically it changes the symbology, right? So it's getting to the point that we are aiming, right? So bigger circles for the most cases and smaller circle for the less cases, but we can always enhance it. So if you click here on the style options, we are going to have more options on how to enhance the symbology. The most important of all at this stage is to classify the data, right? How you do that? Just by clicking here on this on button. And now you can choose the method in which you are going to classify the data. For education purposes, the most recommended method is called natural breaks, right? And the reason why is because they got a statistical processing that it varies depending on the feature class and on the field that you selected, right? So it makes a quick statistical analysis and recreates the classes depending on how is the distribution of this data. And here you can also increase or reduce the number of classes. For this case, we're going to increase it to 5. And also another setting that you can update here, it's the color of each of the circles, right? As well, you can modify the shape if you want, for example, from the 295 to the 390 interval that it's a square instead of a circle, you can do it. But what we are going to do here is that we are going to modify the colors. We're going to make something that is known as a color ramp, that it's progressively changing the colors. In this case, from red to blue. Red being the worst case with most of the malaria cases, and blue being our best scenario with less cases. So first of all, we're going to select the most extreme values. So this is the worst scenario that is going to be represented by an intense red. Now we're going to select the best scenario that is going to be represented by an intense blue. And now all the colors are going to be points in between these two colors. So for example, this one would be also blue, but not too dark, more lightish blue, something like this. This would be kind of a yellow greenish, maybe very yellow. And we are going to leave that orange like in the midpoint between this yellow and this red. So to save changes, remember to click done. And now I got the representation of the countries depending on the malaria cases amounts that they have. Alright, so it might also be useful to understand how many cases are depending on the population density of each country, right? Because it's not the same having 300 cases in a country where you have 300 inhabitants, or to have 300 cases in a country where you have 3 million inhabitants, right? The impact would be different for both countries. So to understand and to represent that in our map, we can go ahead and add another layer. This layer is hosted in ArcGIS Online, so we should use this option of Browse Layers. And also remember that you should not be looking just in your content, and so you are going to be looking just your own layers, just your own content, the one that you own, but you should be looking in ArcGIS Online to access to all the publicly shared contents. So the layer that we are looking for, it's called Country Population Density. Is this one from the Esri Education APHG group. So I'm going to add it to the map by clicking here on the Add button. As you can see, it's already classified by this field that is called Population Density 2019 per square miles. So that's correct. If I would like to select a different field, I can change it here. But for the example, the field that represents the best information is this one. So we're going to leave it. And now we should choose a different style, right? Currently, we have counts and amounts, which is useful. So we can go ahead and enhance it a little bit. Remember, classify the data. This is correct. It's in natural breaks. And 5 is the number of classes. So currently, as you can see, most of the African countries are in the list interval from 0 to 652. So that's interesting because it's not a super densely populated country, which can lead to a not huge spread of the disease. So click on Done again to save the changes of that symbology. You of course can modify those ranges if you want to represent different information, but for the moment we are going to leave it like this. And now the final detail is that I would like that the malaria cases in a point feature representations are above the chloroplet map of the country population. So how do I do that? Just by switching these layers, and now the malaria cases are above the country population density. Perfect. So let's suppose that I'm happy with my map, right? I can go ahead and save it as, again, choose the malaria folder and select a name for this malaria map. Very easy. Remember, these categories, tags, and summary are optional. So I'm just going to click on save. And now when it's saved, take a look, the name change as well. So now I'm able to share this map with all my organization members, with some members in particular. I'm also able to jump back to the new map viewer and are going to have the same map with the same details. So this was styling our layers in the new map viewer. Remember that I'm Camilo Ayala, GIS Education Officer for Esri Australia.